Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Hey, that's a lot easier to handle, Reggie, if you close your eyes.
Oh, yeah. We have a very special guest tonight, and I'll let Greg do the honors of introducing him.
For those that haven't seen him for a while, he's an amazing man. He's done a great deal in the ITC community. He's carried a show for quite some time on Minnesota Ghost Box, and his name is Greg Bakken. Mr. Bakken, and here he is tonight. And welcome, Greg.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. Nice to meet you, Reggie. Good to see you, Greg.
It's awesome to have you on. If you want to give everybody a little idea of what was going on with, when you were off the air for a while, there might be people in here that are interested in hearing that, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I was back in April, I got COVID and something else. I don't really know quite what it was, but it was I use my words very carefully, near-death experience. So, I mean, it's something that is not, you don't throw around lightly. And had a lot of, it wasn't really doctors that were helping. I went in for pneumonia as well, but it was more of people doing spirit work on me, doing, remote helping and stuff like that. And so that had lasted a while. And it took a while for it to actually go away. I mean, I still have a massive cough from the pneumonia, but it's like just whatever was with me, it took a while for it to go away. But now I'm much better.
Well, that's fantastic that you're on the rebound and everything's going great. And there's a lot of the people that have been on your show all those years, most of them are in the room right now.
I see a lot of great familiar faces, and I mean, I haven't done a spirit box session for my show in nearly 3 months, I would say. So it's been weird not doing it, but it's every day getting closer. And the reason why I hadn't really been doing it is really health reasons. Just wanted to make sure I understood what was going on before it got to before I did anything else. You, as we all know, health and taking care of yourself is pretty important in these areas of what we do.
Yeah, that's something where, every once in a while I'll forget to do a closing prayer or something like that with what I do on Metaphysical Crossing. And that show because you've been on it. And it's like you go, whoops. And then it's like, you want to say it, but you're already to the point where you can't. You're off the air.
That's just it. When you let the people go, because it's for us, but it's also for anybody watching. That you want to make sure that they're careful and they're taken care of.
I was going to go ahead and start going ahead and actually going ahead and not putting a caution out, but making a generalized statement in the beginning that if I do not cover it at the end of the show, especially, to be sure to go ahead and say a prayer. Because you can never cover yourself, let alone everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what you got to do. I mean, as much as you want to take care of people, I mean, it's like the first timers is always something that I worry about. But it's like if you have people who have been going week after week, they should know the routine and have their own way of either protection or closing out as well. I think when I do it, I always assume there's a lot of people on there who are doing their own thing at the time I'm doing my thing, because they have their own ways of doing whatever they want.
So advancing and now going with what's today and in the future, do you want to go ahead and talk a little bit about what you're going to be involved with in that?
Yeah, I would. So, I mean, when it comes to like Ghost Box Live, the live Spirit Box sessions, right now, I am not 100% sure what I'm doing with those. I need to get on and do a couple. But one of the things that's going to be changing for me, every Sunday at 4 p.m., I do my radio show, Ghost Box Radio, on AM 950 KTNF. And that on July 10th is moving to 5 nights a week. So for 5 nights a week, Monday through Friday, I'm doing a live radio show for AM 950. I will be putting it on a lot of the networks that I'm already on, such as my MN Ghostbox page has been renamed Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken because it's a new rebranding.
Oh.
We're still going to be on Things and other networks, but also the point of the 5 nights a week is that we're hoping to expand into other markets and do stuff all over the place. Plus also the online presence, like we all do, is very, very big part of it as well. So it's very exciting. It's nice to be able to have the station believes in the show and they believe in what we're doing. And it's, eventually, I mean, it's going to be a paid gig, so that's also nice. And so I'm really excited to be able to do this. So like last 3 months, I've been working on what's it going to be like, to what kind of guests I'm going to have on, how I'm going to do the show, what 5 nights, because that's 40 hours of content in a month, right, basically. So it's it's a lot. And then Saturday and Sundays will be, lack of a better term, best of programs. I mean, I don't know if there's going to be a lot of best of, but there's going to be a amalgamation of other bits from previous episodes put together. So I'm going to be on AM 950 7 days a week, basically. 2 of them being pre-recorded, of course.
Sure. Reggie, you got any questions for Greg?
Man, I don't know. I don't know what the questions would be. I'm just amazed that I got. I think you're probably the first outside of Greg. I mean, the first ITC guy that I've ever had on the show. I mean, specializes in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting, I guess, because there's so many, and I know Greg, you love to kind of get into that culture quite deeply, and it's like, around here, like the other paranormal teams around in the Twin Cities, they tend to look at ITC work and Spirit Box as patchy. Like they don't necessarily believe that it's something, and I always feel there's a little bit of like, oh, you do that sort of thing. So I don't really hang around with a whole lot of the local paranormal teams. I really don't. I mean, well, I've seen one, the big one, the Dark Army. I saw they've been around for a long time, and I saw them in November, and it's like their attitude hadn't changed at all. It's either their way or the highway, and I think that's inflexibility is what really kind of ruins it for me personally. I mean, if you can't have an open mind to different things to do with the paranormal, then I don't know why you're in it, to be honest. I understand that some people don't like, for example, may not necessarily be comfortable with mediumship or something, but give it time, I think most people would be like, okay, I get it now, but these people, a lot of these people, it hasn't changed in 10 years, and I just don't understand. So it's like, instead of trying to be in with those people, I just kind of do my own thing. And I have people that's in my circle locally that we just do stuff together. We put on events together. We do classes. My friend Char Savoy, she's a great medium. We've been working together for a very long time, and we just our purpose is to want people to understand paranormal in a loving and wonderful way, I guess.
Yeah, I kind of see that the same way. When it comes to paranormal teams, certain ones, out there that I've come across or watched on videos or whatever. And I mean, this is just coming from me. All right. But I just want to look at him and say, so you want to see the guy's shadow? Or do you want to hear him say hello to you?
Yeah.
I can bring him forward and you could have a conversation, instead of just, ooh, I got a shadow,
The only way I would even approach what you just said is the fact that knowing Minnesota and knowing how much colder it is there than it is where I'm at. And I know there's a lot of nights that I have that I could do a lot of stuff by myself and not have to worry about an investigation.
Yeah.
And it's all ITC.
Absolutely.
And why would they scoff at that? But that, you know what? So be it.
Yeah, that's just that, and that's it. It's like, that's why it was like at first, for like the first 3-4 years, you try to be in there, and by no means was I trying to get them to, you're seeing it wrong, ITC is the way, to each their own. But once it became to the point that it was like, well, nobody, they much rather use, I don't even know what equipment they use, I don't care. To me, one of the big turnoffs in the paranormal is people who grandstand, people who all they want is to kind of, jump up and down. Look at me, look at me, look at me, look at what I'm doing. And that's what some of those teams, I mean, that's what everyone seems to do in this field, I think. But the teams locally very much were just like, we want, like, one in particular, we want to make sure that we're the biggest so that we can pretty much, get invited to all the shows and all that stuff. It's like, if that's really what you want to do, go for it. I'm going to be over here doing my thing, and I like what I'm doing a little bit better. So enjoy. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
You always done a very good job at what you do. I've always enjoyed you from day one, and the first show I was up, I wouldn't want it to turn out any other way, as long as I could spit those words out. I don't know what's going on with me tonight. But anyway, so Reggie, what do you want to do next?
Oh, whatever you two want to do. I'm game for anything, really.
No, do you want to wait a little longer, or do you want to do some live?
If we can, why don't we wait a little bit? Get to like the second, like where you had originally said. I mean, if you all want to do it now, that's fine too.
No,
whatever you want to do.
I thought it would be just like what we had said earlier. That would be a good idea.
Yeah.
I look at any time that I meet somebody new that specializes in something, and especially specializes in what I do. I tend to stay a little bit quieter, just absorbing and learning and getting to know whoever it is. And I can't tell you how much of a pleasure it is to finally get to talk to you.
Thank you.
Greg's been saying your name for the last 3 years, and I've never had a chance.
I don't think it's been 3 years.
You even said hello.
Make it sound like I'm about 80 or something.
Well,
aren't you about 80?
No. You dog, you.
Well, hopefully it's not overly disappointing by the time it's all over. But
no, it won't be.
One of the things that I thought I should probably mention is, Tim Walworth.
Yeah, absolutely.
You heard about all his issues that he's having right now?
No, actually, I have no idea.
He had a concussion.
Oh my goodness.
A real bad one.
Oh.
And he was coming back from it, and he just had a fall the other day. His feet went out from underneath him, and he ended up going backwards and hit his head square on the floor, bare floor. And got up, and he thought he was okay, and he started doing things, and next thing he knows, he's in an ambulance, and they took him in, and this may not be all accurate, but they took him in, and they actually took him to the one hospital by him, and then and this is in Michigan, and then they transferred him to another hospital, and he's got his his own room, and I just wanted to mention it not only to us but to everybody in the chat. So anybody that knows who Mr. Tim Woolworth is, be sure to say a prayer for him, because
absolutely,
he hasn't gotten any better, and he's one of those guys that really rocks when it comes to ITC.
Well, and I mean, when I got into all this, he was one of the first people that I ever really got in touch with. And I think when I got into it, he definitely already had quite the presence. But I feel like, because he reached out to me when I started doing stuff, and I really wanted to say that at that time, years and years and years ago, there wasn't a lot of people doing like the ITC stuff. I mean, there was a number of them. I don't want to say there was nobody, but we didn't know of other people. And if you had the same experience that I had locally, it might be something you don't really talk about or you don't really get into. So now I think it's much more prevalent, I would say. You two would tell me if you agree with that. But it seems to have grown over the past 10 years or so.
Oh yeah.
He was very intricate part of the Potographs.
Oh people,
yeah. And Tim Miley, and so I had the opportunity to be with him 2 different times, and just one-on-one talk.
Yeah.
And then so everybody else will hear this too. For everybody out there, what's your interpretation of a double-blind ghost box?
My interpretation of it, to be honest, I've never done anything like that. That's very interesting. I kind of leave it like the if you pardon the expression, the fancier stuff, to like you and the show that you do, which once again I'm getting it wrong, aren't I? Greg and I talked about a week or so ago, and I kept saying his show's name wrong every time, single time.
It's not important.
It took me a good 2 months before I memorized metaphysical.
I keep wanting to call it Metamorphosis because Shar does a company, Metamorphosis Connection, and so Metaphysical Crossings is like, if you watch Ghost Box live, and I'm on it that week and I don't mention it because I don't remember the name of the show, and it's just, I feel horrible about it, and you often have to tell me in the comments what's the name of the show. So unbelievable. It's not a hard name. It's not difficult. This is before COVID, so it's not some sort of aftershock reaction to anything. It's just that my brain can't seem to get around it in any possible way. So okay. So tell me, Greg, what is that? What is a double blind?
When you do the same thing like what Reggie does, and you have a recorder,
yeah,
and you have your spirit box, and you have them hooked together, and then you have a speaker. The idea of having a recorder hooked up in between to not only go ahead and hear the replies, but also go ahead and hear the comments.
Okay.
So it's pure real time. In case there's anybody that would come with an idea that possibly something's not on the up and up,
right?
Which happens occasionally,
Yeah.
So that's and this is what he called it, because I said to him, I said, we're going to do the Estes, and he looked at me, and we were talking, and he goes, you know what? He says, I think you're talking about the double blind ghost box.
Huh.
And I says, wait a minute. I says, no, we don't do that part. If we do it, it's live, but we don't have it hooked up to the point of actually hearing what we're hearing.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the reasons why I've do the Estes myself, and I'll do it with you because I trust you, and I truck away. I trust everybody that's on the program. But when we're doing events and stuff, and people are like, I want to do the Estes, that's exactly what. And when I was doing events with Christy, that was exactly the same sort of thing that she was always very much against. Was like, the whole night we're doing a spirit box session, and you don't hear a swear word, you don't hear anything, whatever. And then somebody's like, okay, well, I'll have the headphones on and I'll listen to the spirit box. And all of a sudden, profanity is just coming out of the box, and racial slurs and all. And like, what? How did that happen? So and it's like, no, buddy, give me the box back. Give it back.
And with Reggie,
eye on a lot of this, Greg.
Reggie's the kind of guy. He doesn't pick it up that way either.
I'm like, I watch Greg's show when I can, and it's because I know everyone involved and can trust what they're hearing. But if I'm watching a television program and they're doing the Estes method on it, my mind's always thinking, oh yeah, they're hearing the questions through a speaker within their headphones, or they're doing something to make it more interesting,
Yeah.
It is so amazing. It is so amazing that, and since you've been gone, some of the things that have happened. I mean, some of the not only the bantering, but the actually answering questions. That's been going back and forth. And it seems that, to me, is if I could figure out how to do it where we have 3 locations instead of 2, and we have 6 boxes instead of 4, the magnification is going to go up. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not going to draw that other side too, because the last couple shows have been sort of hard in the responses, and parts have been to the point where you sort of you start to get, because you don't know what you're saying anyway.
No.
So by the time you come out and they go, oh wow, you know what you did, and I'm going, oh boy, what did I do now? Because you don't have a clue.
You were saying that the talking has increased?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm in touch with the universe and everything. The word's gotten out about your show throughout the whole universe. And so they're all coming. You're getting more and more all the time.
Well, as long as they don't have black hoods on, I guess I'm okay.
Well, if you can't see them, it doesn't matter if they got black hoods on.
Oh, Reggie.
As long as they're not like Greg, come join us.
Yeah. I'll be slowly.
And touching on what Greg, the other Greg, Bakken.
Everyone says it's okay. Yeah.
About like other teams and that. The universe, the spirit, they see you for your soul. And so a lot of the time, these la-di-da groups or people that are just out there for the fame or the name, they can see right into their soul. The spirit can. And if they turn on a spirit box, they're not likely to get a whole lot of talk through it, because it's just for notoriety rather than trying to communicate and talk to them and love them and get to know them and really find out how their day's been going. They're just trying to catch a voice, and spirit's too wise to that. They can see right into the soul.
Yeah.
And what you're really trying to do. And that's just my view on it. But I'm quite certain that's the way it works.
I mean, it goes back to saying that like attracts like, right? That, if you are a certain way, that's what you attract, whether through friendship with people or spirit. I mean, that's what you're calling out for. And that's, and that's why I think, and Reggie, I don't know exactly how you do it. I mean, the way I tend to do it, and I think Greg, you do it the same way, is when we start, we kind of do a preamble of like our intentions, what we want, who we want to bring forth and stuff. And that's it was to me, that's a way of level setting and being very clear, and also being very clear. I don't want anything negative to come through. This isn't the place for it. I don't want it. So I guess that's it's like I said, like attracts like. It always does.
Yeah,
that's a very, very good point. I know that for a lot of the people that are in here tonight too, they all know 100%. And Anthony's here too. This is interesting. Oh boy.
I didn't know you let anybody into this. Oh my God.
Hey Ernie, how you doing?
Let's see. It's like a complete sentence. I'm impressed. Let's see here. We did a second with 3 people.
Aren't you doing did you just do something with him?
I would like you to rephrase that.
Okay.
If you will.
Didn't you do an event with him or go didn't you go to Waverly or something like that?
We stayed, Shar, her wife Kim, myself, we stayed at Denise and Ernie's at the 1841 Ditto House, which is pretty amazing. And they took us all around Louisville. They live in West Point. They took us to Fort Duffield, which is this earthen fort that was used during the Civil War, literally just a few blocks from where they live. They're actually going to be doing tours there now. If I may do a quick point, go to Hauntings of Fort Duffield on Facebook and like the page, please. That's Ernie and Denise, and it's a very very massive place, and they're open not for just tours but also for overnight investigations and whatnot as well. It's going to be we investigated there. It's all of us that were there, we were blown away by what we came up with, and it wasn't spirit. It wasn't like spirit of soldiers or anything. It was Bigfoot. There was Bigfoot. We saw something come out of the shadows, 7 feet tall. We saw a lot of other things, and it was. I mean, I'm not giving it justice because it's not something you can just explain away real fast. But that night, and then the next night where we did some squatching in another place, just blew us away. And the stuff that we saw, what I literally felt like something touched my head in the forest. That's stuff that you'll never forget. It's just incredible. So yeah, and Ernie, and Denise, we went to the Red Yeti for a steak. We hung out with Greg Yost, who does he called Squatchman. He's always doing all that looking into Sasquatch. I'm investigating or reaching out or communicating with him. Maybe that's a better term. Certainly not hunting. I hate the term using like ghost hunting or Bigfoot hunting or anything like that. So it's great. I mean, he was just really, really, both him and Denise, they really were able to take us around and show us a lot of great places. It was great.
They're great people, I'm sure. That's for sure. There's Jergs and Dexler.
We ought to start a ITC band and call it Reginald and the Gregs.
if you don't mind, at least one of them not knowing anything about music, that's maybe.
Well, I use I've been working on using the SB7 as my percussion when I play the guitar.
Oh yeah. There was Shar, Kim, and friend Danae went to Melbourne Manor last October, and there Danae brought a little cardboard spirit box that she put together at a little thing that Bill Chappell had, and the thing was like, it wasn't like an SB7. It sounded like a beatbox. So like she turns it on, it's like,
yeah.
I love this thing. And all of a sudden you'd be like, do you know what we had for dinner? All of a sudden, tater. It was like, what?
Awesome.
I loved it. I wanted to steal it from her, but she kept her eye on it. So that
yeah, I could never get the SB11 to work for me very well.
No.
And it did when I hit certain frequencies on my electric guitar. I could hear them talking through it through my amplifier, and it was really neat.
But, you see what Anthony says there?
Had a question there.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know which Greg, but both of you can answer.
It's got to be from Mr. Bakken.
Well, I think the best answer for that would be talking to Ernie Pack about his situation, his spirits over at Waverly Hills, and the ones that have been with him and Denise all this time and brought them together and stuff. And my belief is definitely, absolutely, you can. And I think that I think they personally become your guides to a certain extent. They're always looking out for you. It's more than just like we're stuck at one location. I think I think the video I saw earlier, Reggie, that you showed, and my experiences, and Greg, your experiences, it's like we don't have to be at the location of somebody where they live to be able to pull them through. And that's a big that's a big misnomer when it comes to any kind of spirit communication. Yeah. And that's always what I've tried to do with some of my sessions. And that started way back when I was like, I wanted to bring through Abraham Lincoln, like in my house. And it's like, that's the thing that people are just like, did they die there or whatever? They don't have to die anywhere. Or did they die? I didn't know if anyone was murdered at this location to get spirits. Like they have still very closed, and not purposely, but closed-minded ideas of how spirit communication works. And I think all three of us could very easily agree, and Ernie being on here, I'm sure there's many others on here too, that is like, it doesn't matter where you are. I think we can go and do whatever we want and reach out to them anywhere we want. Mediums, Reggie, as you well know, that's what you do. That's what it is.
Yeah. 90% of my recordings are sitting right here at this desk.
Me too.
Yeah, just calling on whoever, and I've found, like, located missing people from my desk. I mean, you can do about anything from any location. Again, it's the universe, and it's kind of a, I don't know how to word it. It's telepathic, and it moves much faster than the speed of light. If you so much as just think about somebody wholeheartedly, they'll show up because they know you're thinking about them. And
and that's as simple as that, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting how people don't necessarily understand that yet. And I think once they do, that's like a light bulb that goes off, like, oh wow, suddenly it becomes accessible for everyone to do. You got to be careful. I mean, you have to be very careful in those situations, because you never know, if you're just like, I want all spirits to come in here, it's like, all right, that's what
I always do. That's what I do. And Greg is always like, oh my God, hold on to your seats, guys. If I'm like, but I can hear my guides monitoring the room in my recording. They're protecting me,
Yeah.
Carol just Garcia just went ahead and brought up Linus. Was that him before that we heard?
No, I thought that was on your guys' end. One of you had a cat, right?
It's got to be Reggie then.
Oh no, Skeeter.
Oh, yeah. Skeeter.
Okay. Yeah, he meowed in the background. Christy came home.
Yeah, no, I'm in a room that has doors, and their doors are shut, so there's no Linus. I don't know if he's at the door, like, even to see him. No, he's not there, because this is the room I'm going to be using when I remote for my radio show. So it's different from where I've been at. So he can't just come in and like take over everything. So, because that can be painful, and I really mean that, because he has claws, and he wants attention every time I'm talking online. So it's just, that's the fun of a Linus-sized cat, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, he's a big puppy.
In answer to Joanne from my end, it is the same as manifestation. If you're calling on your daughter and you're talking to her, no matter how you're doing it, just talking out loud or even in thought, she shows up. She will show up. And I'll move on to the other two Gregs in response to that, if you'd like to. Go
ahead, Mr. Bakken.
I would agree. I mean, I think that's the thing that some people maybe are a little timid about, is like, maybe it seems too simple to be like, you just think of them. It's like, how many times have you thought about somebody who had passed and something that reminds you of them suddenly shows up? Whether it's just like, or you find a feather, or you find a dime or something, you look at the dime and it has a year that maybe it was the year that they were born or passed or something like that. I mean, it's up to people to decide if they want to accept that. But I always think, what's the harm in accepting that as truly a gift or a sign? And that's how I do Spirit Box, is I literally think about connecting to the person I want to reach out to. Doing Spirit Box tonight, I'm going to connect to you, Reggie, just because we're gonna get some amazing responses coming through tonight. That's how it works in my mind. That's how it works. That's my thought, at least. Greg, what do you?
And then that's why we have all these great people here too, because everybody combines together to form the intention.
And those signs, it's kind of funny because I thought about one little experience I had when you brought up Lincoln earlier. I was asking Spirit through the ITC, equipment, who was president when they were born. And I didn't hear anything in real time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't know if you answered me, but I'm trying. This was when I was like first starting to do this, stuff right after my awakening and everything. And it was not 30 seconds later. I looked down and there was a heads up penny.
Oh, wow. Yep.
And I'm like, Lincoln, okay. That's the universe.
I just looked down and I saw Joanne Stewart, I think, is from Great Britain, if I'm not mistaken. And then below her, there's a gentleman we know from the WLF.
I see.
And that's Jeff. And he is our director for our region.
Mm-hmm.
And I had some questions for him, but I'm not going to ask him here.
We're going to turn this into a meeting between Jeff and Greg, and
it's all going to be recorded. And,
he's a director of what?
Warren Legacy Foundation.
Oh,
he's a regional. Okay. He's the regional director.
Okay.
So he's in our area, and then one of the ladies before too. She's from there too.
Yep, absolutely.
Who was it?
Oh, geez. You see this?
Oh, Jeff. Please.
Kimberly was on.
Yeah, Kimberly was. Trent.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. That was her.
Yep.
Oh, so can both of you see the comments in StreamYard?
Yes.
Okay, I was posting a lot of them up because I wasn't sure if you could see them, Greg Bakken. I didn't know.
Most of mine are in Chinese, but I'll get back to it.
Oh.
I think it's still good to put them up there. I just, because I don't know what you want to talk about or what you want to, but Jeff says that she's a real talent, and that's, about Kimberly, and absolutely 100%.
You are too, Mr. Jeff, man. That's
Jeff
for sure.
Foxer.
To put up with some people like me. But you know what? One of these days I'll figure out how to go ahead and post things on the page and which page to post them on without going ahead and I get in a hurry, I get a brain fart, and that's my answer, and that's how I'm going to stick to it.
Posting stuff, excuse me, posting stuff on Facebook about the stuff that we do, trying to promote it just because we want some people to watch it, is a real pain in the ass, isn't it? I mean, it's true. There's no easy way to do it.
No, there's not. And when you do 60 to 70 posts,
I do 5.
Undoubtedly, you're not. You're like in a hypnosis, and you don't even know who you're doing anymore. You don't know where you're at on the list. So I sent them to the wrong page a couple of times, and then I thought, no, I'm not going to send them at all anymore. But I wanted to send them. I wanted to be able to have people in our region to be able to at least see the content that we got and what we do.
My glasses, I thought, were fogged up. I couldn't see very well. Did Jeff just say we're tame or lame? Because I saw the ha-ha. Oh, well,
Jeff would never say that. He's a great guy. He's got a crazy sense of humor. Crazy sense of humor. I have difficulties at time reading him, but that's not too much to say.
It's like, well, if Jeff, you didn't know that, you do now. So
Jeff, this is an open book in here, my friend.
This is what we call an intervention, Jeff.
Right. So if there's anything that we could do to help you out, put it in writing, and we'll handle it the next time we all get together in a group.
Time to start telling you what we really think about you, Jeff. It's like a roast, but you're not here. So we had Ernie for a while, and now
Jeff's here.
Yeah, and then Reggie's completely gone. He's been
we're Reggie.
I'm just quietly speaking to Christy for a second.
Oh, he's talking to his wife. But you see, everybody's probably trying to figure out why he's so dark in the corner. And I don't know why he is either, but he likes to have that typical background behind him, and that's a cool background. But
well, he mentioned that he doesn't like the light's too bright, and like if I took off my light right now, I'd be in the same. Well, that's kind of cool, actually. I'm going to keep it like that. I think.
It's sort of it's like the Rainbow Coalition.
Well, the reason why I want to take it off is if we do Spirit Box, I don't want that light in me. That light is because I might go to it. No, I'm just kidding. But I just don't want to. It just bothers me. It's fine for doing the different other things, but if I'm doing a Spirit Box session, I just don't need that extra stuff. So
mine didn't even change very much at all.
I had another light, but it died about the same time that Ernie came on, and I don't think that's a coincidence. I think it just stopped. I think it just decided it didn't have the will to live anymore when it saw Ernie come on. So,
so when you're going to do the radio show,
yeah,
and you're going to do it live, right?
Most of them, yeah.
So you're gonna have cameras on you and everything else.
What you see is what you get.
Okay, are you going to go ahead and just do interviews, or are you going to go ahead and get back into your boxes again?
The boxes I can't do only because I think because it's an FCC station, and I really do think people are going to be like, what is this? You know, it's really tough, and I might play responses that I might get. I might do some of that and see, but that's never gone over well. I mean, it's not like people complained about it, but it never really felt that people are like, oh, we want to hear more of the evidence. And I play my good stuff.
Well, I was just curious because probably everybody's going to want to tune in, and I'm sure you're going to make it interesting. But that would throw it over the top, I think.
Yeah, I think it's. I just got to figure out when I can do the ghost box and how often I can, because if I do it like how I've been doing it every Sundays, that means I'm doing like live 6 days a week, and that's a lot. That's really a lot.
How many shows we got now, Reggie? And I put my hands up, and I have the tremors, but
me and you. We're doing 2, but then you have your Wednesday and Friday. So you're doing 4 days in a row, Greg.
I I don't know anymore on that end.
It's
just pull the cart, pull the ambulance up, and
yeah,
just come and
you can just have a coffin down there. You can just lay in it every night after you're
right.
done with the show and get out of it the next day, if you're lucky. I mean, it just kind of
lucky. Well, are you? What was that? Do you feel lucky?
Yeah, do you feel lucky? Do you feel lucky, punk? Yeah, well.
Did I fire 5 or did I fire 6? I'm listening in the shower, LOL.
Yeah, I did not need to know that.
Too much TMI.
I don't need to know your naked body was listening to our show. That's
that is awesome.
Well, spirit don't have clothes on, so
how do you know? How do you know?
They don't. They don't. They just like to show up in an apparition. They're dressed just out of respect.
Well, and I was going to ask you, do you think that the clothes we see on them, is that us projecting that, or is that them projecting that?
That's I wholeheartedly believe that it's them projecting that, because that is the way you are perceiving them, or you know what I mean?
You want to perceive them.
Well, I mean, it's like, based on like what era they're from, for example, that's the only way you know is the pictures you've seen or what you've heard about or read about that person, whoever it is. And so they'll come forward in that light, in that, I mean, if you actually see the apparition.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But otherwise they're just energy, they're just an amazing energy.
Mm-hmm.
I like being able to see behind Reggie, to see spirit moving behind him. And that's from Carol Garcia.
I've been experimenting with this. I didn't use a virtual background until like the last couple shows. And if I back up at a certain angle, you see the back of the chair. Mm-hmm. Okay, right there. But if I'm just sitting here talking and I'm thinking of spirit or whatever, out of nowhere, the back of the chair will look like the shape of a shadow figure or something.
Sure.
It'll pop out over here. And it's kind of cool. And it just makes me wonder if the universe, they can manipulate anything.
There you go.
Manipulating the in and out of the projection of me versus what's behind me. It's kind of a cool question.
I feel like that. I agree with you. I mean, I think that it's possible that I think anything is possible. Like we can't throw out any explanation of how something works, because how could we possibly even begin to know? At least I'm speaking for myself. I don't want to speak for mediums or anything like that. I guess the thing is, though, is when people are like, and I just had this conversation with my friend Nicole last night, and her and I are in agreement. It's just like when you're like using Spirit Box and people are like, oh, well, I don't believe that spirit can manipulate where a word from the radio will come in, and even though it makes sense to the question, that's not actual spirit response because it's from a radio. It's like, how do you know? How do you know how it works? No one knows how it works. I mean, I agree. You don't want to go crazy with it, but also you don't want to be just like, well, because of the laws of our own, universe of physics, therefore such and such cannot happen. Because then why are you in this, in my opinion?
Oh yeah. And my views, I don't know who would disagree in the audience or not, but when it comes to that, when the box is sweeping, you're hearing a touch frequency from a radio station. Mm-hmm. That's all you're hearing. If you hear a sentence, or if you hear more than one word or two, it's not the radio ever, because it's sweeping too fast.
It's impossible for it to be the radio station.
Right, because it's already 10 more stations down the line by the time they're done talking. So exactly. I mean, there's no way it's a radio.
Now, when you channel, That's when it can happen. And everybody's silent.
Well, I don't know how to explain that, so why don't you, Greg? Greg
Well,
K.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have no idea. The only thing I'm going to say is I don't know what I say when I'm under.
Sure.
And when I talk, I have no idea. And I've been in this situation so many times now. It's just the way it is. And there's times that I think I say that many words in my head of what I remember in the beginning or at the very end when they're calling me out already or the time's up. The vibration in my phone is going off.
Now, if you see my background now, I'm starting to make a movie. And this is one of my, there's space, UFOs, dragons, there's a drone. I'm starting to work on a movie. But sorry for interrupting, Greg K.
I don't know where I was now.
Well, you're just talking about that, when you are under, and it's like what pulls you out is going to be like the vibration of the phone that you're, that brings you out and stuff. And I feel that's I think kind of where you were at.
And in between, all that space in between, we used to do sessions, and if I felt that I didn't do a very good job, or I wasn't all the way under, or I wasn't channeling back in the day, and I'd go ahead and I'd come out and I'd say, well, that was a poor session. I think I said about 5 words, and they hold up the tablet of paper and there's like 2 sheets. And you go, what the heck is that? And it just kept on advancing itself. So it being used in the content of what I was trying to say is that when the channeling started to happen, you're just strictly being used as the conduit through what spirit speaks. And, you have no idea.
No. And I think also like sometimes like if I'm doing like a, not even spirit box, but I'm just tuning in to a location or something, and I'm talking with somebody, and suddenly I realize I said something and I heard it, and then I'll look at the person, I'll be like, that didn't come from me. I didn't say it. I mean, I said it, but that wasn't something that I would have said, and just, it's hard to explain because it's just, and I really have to be careful. And this is just me talking. I don't want to say that this is how everyone should be, but I'm just careful because I don't want it to turn into like something dramatic. Like, oh, look, Greg's being dramatic. He said something he doesn't know. Therefore, he's kind of coming across as if he's been, he's been chosen to speak for someone or whatever. It's more of just that I just want to, I just want to get responses. That's all I want. That's all I want is as a group get responses and figure out what we're there for, what needs to be, what we're trying to be told.
Oh, I don't think either one of us does anything above and beyond the truth as far as what we get or what we receive.
No.
And that's the point of the shows, is because, like I said earlier, the responses, if we went to three different towns, if you were from St. Louis and you're up in Minnesota and I'm over here in Illinois, what are the chances that you would be saying the same response or bantering back and forth to each other?
Yeah. And it's not, and it sounds like that it's gotten much more since I've been on, but I remember that even like you and I, we had some sessions where just like back and forth, not like a ton, but enough to be like, how did that happen? You get, like you said, you get off and you get off the box, so to speak, and you have, the two that are like either Becca or whoever else, and they're just like, whoa, what was that? And that's just, it's like, okay, well, that's good, because the whole purpose of this is to, educate people on communication.
Just to communicate with spirit. you know, and
I mean, whatever your show is called, it's you know,
I can't remember the name of it myself.
Metaphysical Crossings.
It's
he's got a cheat sheet by him now.
Months. 2 months it took Greg before he remembered perfectly normal paranormal communications.
I'm just gonna have it tattooed on my forearm so I could be like Metaphysical Crossings.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, when you talk about doing it in 3 different places or whatever, every time you talk about that, Greg K, I think about that Lizzie Borden, when Elizabeth Borden said my name from 1,200 miles from here.
Mm-hmm. The same thing. Greg was on the show when we did it that one time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You remember that, Reggie?
I'm not positive I remember that. How long ago would it have been?
It was in the winter time.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of episodes. Remember, I was working Wednesday nights at that time. And so I wasn't able to do anything, but you know, if I wasn't too tired, I could catch an episode after I got home.
All of it was always interesting, and that's what carries me with it, is the fact that you never can tell what's going to happen. You know, and it seems that the more intention, or the more people you have that set the intention in the comment section, the more it carries you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you could be dead to the world. You could be a constant brain fart. It wouldn't make any damn difference. They would carry it right through. Through you.
Yeah, I want to also say that there was a time, one of the early ones that we did with Carly, that it was very specific to her. Both of our responses were very like specific to her, because she was just like, you know, amazed by like what was coming through, and it was actually I don't even know how to explain it, but that was the cool thing about it, that it was stuff that I don't think we would have been privy to, but she knew exactly what that stuff meant.
That's for sure. That's the kind of stuff that drives you crazy. You want to take a break, Reggie? It's 7:07.
A break? I got enough energy to go through 1 a.m.
I like doing this to him.
Greg, yeah, I never take a break.
You just got to say this, you know.
Yeah, I don't even go to bed until I'm passing out.
Okay. Ghost Adventures did that experiment from the Winchester Mystery House. Facebook user. Good night, all. Good night, Facebook user. And here's the other one. I communicate with a young woman named Lou Walker in Magnolia Cemetery. How come that rings a bell?
What part?
Magnolia Cemetery. That wasn't Anthony, was it?
No, it's Courtney.
Courtney Cures. Okay. Hi, Courtney. How are you doing tonight? Hello. She's a fantastic lady.
Yeah, I pulled up that Lizzie Borden one. If you care to see it, you want me to play that video?
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened was I had, because I get so much activity, I installed security cameras in the apartment. Mm-hmm. And as luck would have it, it caught me asking them to do this for me, and I wasn't even part of their podcast. Mm-hmm. But here's the video of that occurrence.
Yes, sir. What was the house here until I was living in? Nora, the house on 2nd Street in Fall River or Maplecroft?
We like to set the record straight. We come in love and light and mean you no harm. We are just curious.
Can you tell us? I know you've been asked this a lot. But who did it?
Did they say the right?
Hey, honey. Spirit, can you have Melissa say my name through the box so they can hear it? That'd be wonderful. Did you just say Reginald? Yeah, I love that. I love that.
They get credits for Dark Horse Paranormal and Chris and Kristen.
That's fantastic. And first of all, you guys are doing the right thing. You're calling her the right name. You're putting out the right place that she's at. She's not at her house. She's at Maplecroft. As far as I'm concerned, I did one also. I mean, first of all,
Right.
I cannot say enough how amazing those responses are. That's fantastic. I did one for mine where I reached out to Elizabeth too, and we got some interesting stuff. But that is really fun. What box was that you used?
7.
That was
my box. No.
Yeah,
My
and that
box.
was from 3 different
Look at me
boxes.
turn on you. That's not a 7.
Or that.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an Anacom S.
What was
An
Chris and Kristen using?
They were
that-
using the other one because there's only been 2 of these that were made.
And those responses, you want to take note, anybody that watches that video, it's the same voice.
Yes.
It's the same voice coming through.
2 different boxes.
And then I wasn't even on the show. I was just at home asking because thought it'd be kind of cool if she would do that for me, and she did, and so it was pretty amazing.
And that's the one thing that I think we all preach to people when they watch what we're doing is that there are certain things you always look out for when you're doing spirit communication with a box. One of them is same voice answering. I mean, sometimes it switches up voices, sure, but when you're getting a consistent voice and you're doing it over 2 boxes, that's pretty incredible. And also full sentences, answering it in full sentences.
Yeah, that video that I showed you before we came on, all 3 years, all 20 to 40 people that talked to me, or souls that talked to me there, were the same voice that they were the year before, all 3 years. It's like half the cemetery they're the same voice. And it got to a point where I was trying to edit it, and it's hard because it's like every freaking 10 seconds they're saying something to me, which is amazing, guys, don't get me wrong. But I got to know their voices so well that in real time, if they say something, even if I don't know what they're saying, I'm like, "Hey, John, how are you doing?" And I'm like walking right over to them, like right now, because I know who said it. I know who spoke to me.
Absolutely.
That's very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. No, that was fun. Thank you for sharing that. That was fun to listen to that.
And the only thing I can say, I was thinking the other day too, was when we were all at Anderson House. And, if we could only have gotten a little better contact in that one room that we were in, I think it would have carried us the whole night.
Yeah, it was. And I'm not going to lie that the one real response that I heard the whole weekend was a friend of mine, David. He was up in a different room and he got a very intelligent response to a name using a name that of someone that worked there in the 80s. Um, that was great. And I can't help but be a little jealous of that, because you and I, you kind of expect, like, no, not to blow our own horns or anything, but you'd expect something. It's like it was, you expect that it would have been some kind of responses, and we were dry that night. We really were.
We have a historical society that I belong to in town here, that I could go over there and knock 4 or 5 days and not get anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll be in there and it will just knock us right off our chairs.
Yeah. I think, and I feel like that, Reggie's probably like, well, not me, and that's fine. For me, I mean, it's humbling when I don't get responses, because I often do, more often than not, I do, and not like what you are playing for us. But the thing is, it's like, for me, it's always good to remember, and I stress this in classes and stuff too, that you're not always going to get something. And sometimes the people who get something, like when we take our students to like the Grand House or something, it's the people who've not done it before are the ones that might get the responses. And we had one situation where we're in the dining room of the Grand House, and I just thought, well, why don't we, because I'm a firm believer holding the box is what helps give responses. I believe that touch is very important, tactile, sort of, like, that's just me. So I had them pass the box around to each other and ask questions, and nobody was getting responses. And then we went to this young lady who I believe she's in her 20s. She's married, but she's a very attractive young lady, a very nice person. And suddenly there was somebody who took a very big shine to her, and and the responses just started coming through, and you could see this guy liked her. This guy was a fan, if you get my drift. Right. And we handed it off to someone else, stopped, nothing. Handed it back to her, hey, let's talk again. It was really fun to see that, because that makes it, to me, that makes it real for people to see how it works. That it's like, there is, just like you go into a room, I don't want to talk to everybody in the room. I'm going to find the person that I feel like that I'm going to be able to talk to. Doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to be talking to everybody. So I think it's a very it's a good correlation between real into spirit world and the world that, the physical world that we're living in.
Oh, right. Yeah. Now there's a lot of times when I'm doing it here at the house or at the desk, I'm not getting your typical spirits, but my guides are always talking to me.
Sure.
They're always coming through. Like, right. And I follow, and I've been trying to do like trying to figure out a clever way of going about like solving cold cases and that. And so I watch a lot of shows, like true crime shows.
Sure.
And then I become kind of involved. Like, I'm blessing the families that are hurting and the whole nine. And sometimes when I'm sitting here, my guides will be talking, and then I'll hear a voice come through that says, like, he strangled me or something. And I don't know who it is, because I've watched so many shows, but they're coming forward trying to tell me what happened to them. And that happens quite often at the desk now.
I had a client, because sometimes I'll do private spirit box sessions for people. And I had a client, and she had, for whatever reason, and this is it's not a judgment, it's just the fact, she had multiple abortions, and she wanted to know if they would talk to her. And the response I got when she wanted, like, can any of them hear us? Can anyone say anything to us? And the response we got was, you killed us. And that was that was a tough one. That was a real tough one.
I'll bet.
And that's just the kind of the reality of, sometimes you ask for those, you ask those questions, you're gonna get a response. I'd like to ask you two a question, if I may. Your thoughts on this, and that's the term technician. I hear people use that term as like once they connect, they use a technician to help bring through spirits. Do you follow that train of thought, or if you do you consider a technician no different than a guide?
Greg K, go ahead.
I think if I really keep it the way it's supposed to be, my guides are always with me.
Right.
My techs or my operators are around me when I get ready to do a session.
Mm-hmm.
They're there to make it run smoothly. They're there to make sure that the person who's going to be doing the answers is in the front of the room rather than the back of the room.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to me, at times, they're one and the same. I know there's two different explanations, but I'm doing the same thing right now with the brain fart as far as the difference is concerned. A tech, that's the guy I believe he's going to be quite specific about the questions that are being asked and the answers.
Mm-hmm. Okay, interesting.
Operator is the guy that he's just like the old phone guy on the wall. When you dial it, he's on the other side. He's running around trying to get people to help you out. As far as communications are concerned.
Got it.
I don't know if it's right or wrong.
Nah, I see
it matter.
It's just the way you're looking at it.
Yeah.
Linda Judd said, "Are you going to do a triple Estes?" No, we're not going to do a triple Estes tonight. We'll be doing a live spirit box session here shortly.
Oh yeah. Now
for sure.
My way of seeing that is I respectfully understand what people mean by techs and technicians, and I forget what the other word was. Operators. And I get it, but I refer to them as the way I would any other soul that's in human form. And I look at them, they're my star family. I mean, Prime, he sounds like Optimus Prime, and that's why I call him Prime, but he's from Orion star system, and he helps with I think he aids the spirit that aren't used to talking through the spirit box in helping them, pull through a lot easier, use my energy, his energy, whatever, to kind of guides them a little bit. Andrea, she's very straightforward, loving, but very straightforward. I had one recording that it's my Ghostbusters one. Greg K, you know that one. And she's just like the spirit just before her said, "I'm a little scared of it doing what I was doing," I think, and is what she was referring to. And Andrea just plain as day, "Don't fear or get off."
Sure.
And she's the one that also said to Walter in that cemetery, Walt, just trust me, when he said he was scared when I was walking in. Yeah, that was Andrea. And then Madeline's the fun loving one that she's the one that you haven't seen half of these videos, Greg Bakken. But she says
Bacon.
11. She says 11, and
Bacon.
In the Ghostbusters video, she says we're here together totally. She's Avius, he's always saying hi, and he'll give descriptions of who I'm talking to. When I was in front of Otto Westfall Stone, he was only a year or two old, and after Otto Westfall said his name to me, Avius spoke up and said he was a little boy. Things like that, But I don't really refer to them as operators or technicians. I just kind of know what role they kind of play a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go universally, Luther, he goes and gets souls for me. He'll run, do you want everybody back? And I'll be like, yep, and I'll hear him say it. And but he's kind of inventive, and when I come up with like ideas, like new inventions of how to mix something up or kind of come up with something, I give him the credit for giving me the idea, like spiritually, telepathically or whatever. I might look at it as, oh, hey, I just came up with this, but really it's Luther kind of saying, hey, why don't you try this? Hey, why don't you try that? Psychic medium wise, without the boxes running,
Right.
So yeah, I kind of look at them all differently a little bit, but.
So do we want to go ahead and do a session now?
We can. And just for completion, I never call upon techs or operators or anything like that. I kind of just do a call out to spirit to come through. It's just interesting to hear. And I think we're probably all doing the same thing. We're all saying the same thing, just using different terminology. And
exactly.
Exactly. And spirit in the universe. And again, they detect the purity of your heart. And if they want to talk, if they want to come through and talk to you, and they do, if you are pure of heart and you really have everything you've got in here into it, they will lovingly present to you who they are in the form that you are most comfortable with. So I most of these universal names the human race can't even pronounce. Mm-hmm. So I'm calling her Madeline, sure. Where someone else would say Operator 7, mm-hmm. But it's going to be the same gist, the same thing, because they're doing it to suit the human that is contacting them and how they see them, because they love you, Yeah.
Absolutely.
So George and Dexler, I guess your wish is our command.
So Reggie, when I listened to your videos, the one that you played before the show, your sweep rate is slower than what I normally do. Do you know what's a sweep rate that you use on the SB7?
Yeah, I never veer off of 250.
I think that's actually where I generally have it at too. It just sounded slower. So because I was going to match whatever you have.
Well, what I do in my videos, I slow just where they're talking. I slow that part of the video down to half speed, mm-hmm. so that it can be perfectly heard.
That's why it
goes real slow a lot of the time, is because I'm actually slowing it down so people can clearly hear what they're saying.
You want to try a triple?
But can anyone hear? Can anyone hear that at that point?
I'm gonna take. It's funny because he asked if I wanted to take a break. I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick before we do this. If we've got some kind of a focal point that you guys want to come up with on the spirit session between the three of us, that'd be kind of cool. Whatever.
I don't know. I think Greg's got a valid point, because we tried to do that with the triple, and we were trying to figure out how to do that on Anestus to cut out the interference so that each one of us, our boxes, could be heard.
Yeah, this is actually going to be the first time I've done a session where it's the box is coming through the mic. Normally, I don't have a mic. I have a mic, obviously, in the computer, but
you've got your little speaker.
Yeah. So we'll see how it works.
I will be right back.
Okay.
You got another speaker for your 7, don't you?
Yeah, I'll use this.
Okay, JBL.
Yeah, that's what
I've also got here the ink box. I could fire that up too if I wanted to.
That's cool.
Mix it up a little bit.
Do you find that the ink box comes through well on Facebook Lives and stuff?
At my desk, Yes.
Okay.
Like we did that podcast I was telling you about where we called on Jackie Robinson and Mickey Mantle.
Yeah.
You haven't seen that video yet, but it was 100% the ink box. And they were talking very clear through it.
Yeah.
Like
next time,
Mickey Mantle's voice. I pulled up an old show where he was talking, and it was him. And I was like, wow,
Cool.
The next time Greg's on, we'll go ahead and do that one.
Oh yeah.
So
I'll be right back.
This is really interesting. This is I have one of these little ones.
Oh, the speaker?
Yeah, that one of those little ones that's it actually pops up.
Yeah.
Amplify it.
Like an accordion.
Yeah. But I don't use it that way. But I just use it and play it on top of my 7 or whatever I'm using. I was thinking of using the Nanocom, but I don't, maybe that would be good because it would be coming through at a totally different rate. That's all preset. And that goes, that picks up, that has one of those sensors in it that picks up the energy. And that's on the sweep, whether it's linear or it's random sweep, that when it goes ahead and comes across, if it picks up energy, it will actually hesitate for a second longer, waiting for a response. So I'm going to use that one.
Okay.
Just because, and that may, with you guys both using a 7. And once again, it's hats off to Mr. Chris Carr and Kristen Johnson for giving us the opportunity to have that video when we were all on that night. So, Dark Horse Paranormal. Contact, clear prop, switch on. We got fuel. Tap that fuel gauge.
Uh-oh. Now if there's anything, now I know everybody does things differently, and you guys both are you wanting to do some sort of a protection thing for everybody? If you do, go ahead, because I'm about ready to light this place up.
Okay. Prayer to St. Michael. St. Michael, the archangel, defend us in battle, be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, cast into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who wander through the world, seeking the ruin of souls. Amen.
So how are we doing this? Just so I understand and don't mess it up. Are we all doing boxes, or is it just Greg and I, and then Reggie, you're going to ask questions, or how do you want to do this?
Typically me and Greg will just turn them on and just start talking. And I don't even know if me and Greg are even saying the same thing or not.
If you guys turn your boxes on, I have a different box. I'm going to use the Nanocom. So like I was telling Greg when you were taking care of business, it's going to come through at a different level, I think. So the only real conflict should be, and if it isn't, then we'll just go back to 2 boxes.
All right.
But we should try it out. We got extra time too, because I don't think Chris and Kristen are going to be on until like 8:30 anyway. So we're warming them up, setting the intention. Everybody in the audience, help out. Do we have a subject matter we want to cover?
I heard you. Hold on a second, guys. I'm trying to quiet this down while you two are still talking.
Do we want a subject matter? Somebody in the chat, go ahead and post something about a subject. That way we know everything's on the up and up. All we need is for somebody just
we're getting ready to go.
Post a subject. Please.
Hi. Yeah, we're going to be doing something here in a minute, guys. Go ahead and bring everybody in. Yeah, you can talk.
What's a good subject? Nobody's replying.
Let's see.
What's your favorite snack food?
I was gonna say, how about this? How about okay, well, let's just do let's talk about booze. Like alcohol.
Okay.
I might get yelled at if I do.
I do. I will too. But that's okay.
Well, that will be good.
It's all for experimentation.
Mm-hmm.
This is Reginald.
Ready?
Yep.
Yeah. Hi.
What's your preferred drink?
Greg's birthday, I don't know.
Are there any drinkers here?
We're having a drink after the show. Does anyone want to join me? I do.
Not you. There's a lot going on, huh?
Does anybody else want to join Greg for a drink?
Hi.
You like beer?
Any one of these, whether it be here, right here, or right here, you want to talk through it. You know how this works. I don't have to explain it to you.
Who drinks Boilermaker?
Go say hi to one of the two Gregs. I love you. Oh, thank you.
Who drinks shots?
Would you guys go say hi to one of the two Gregs?
Bring some ice.
I just want to say hi to Ross.
You did? I love you too. Oh, thank you so much. I love you so much.
It doesn't got more if it's on ice.
I want you guys to do me a favor, okay? I want you to go over to both Gregs. Come back here, and what I want you to do is give me a a head count. How many spirit are with us? How many spirit are with the three of us in total?
Are you a wine drinker?
I heard 80.
Can I get a straw, please?
Did you tell me how many?
I bought vodka martinis with a twist of lemon.
Thank you for talking to me.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Are you really a vodka drinker? Part time.
Hi. How are you doing?
Go back over there and give Reggie a beer.
I've missed you.
And then a beer.
Come on over and say hi. Come on over here and say hi, please.
So we're in Madison, Wisconsin. We're in Minnesota, St. Michael, Minnesota, and we're in Lakeville, Illinois.
What are the questions?
How many ice cubes do you want in your glass?
Did you guys have questions, or did you want us to ask questions? Hey, Luther, are you over there with one of the Gregs? Yes, he said yes right away. Very cool, Luther. Very cool.
When I say
They're
something,
friends.
Luther.
Yeah, they're friends. That's right. That's right. They're amazing friends. Fantastic. That's right. I love you.
We're taking.
Wow. Oh, I always love to hear your voices.
It's unbelievable. I think mine is suffering from a brain fart right now.
Now, Carol asked Reggie, did you get an answer how many spirits are in total? But when you asked that, I got the number 80 through the box.
You got what?
The
80.
number 80.
8?
80. 80.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I can imagine. And a lot of us, huh? You just said there's a lot of us. So there's 80, 99, or what was that? Tonight?
You're gonna have to put up those occupancy permits. You know, you're only allowed to have so many people in the
Well, I can't believe only 80 showed up. Where's the rest of them?
Hi. Are you here too?
Yes, in the apartment. If there's people waiting outside of this apartment, you can bring them on in.
Are you here for the party?
Hi.
Is there anyone here that does not drink alcohol? Someone said you. So I'll have something non-alcoholic.
I had one too. How about an NA beer? Non-alcoholic.
Near beer.
How about a Labatt's Ice Blue NA? You ever had that?
Full room.
No, I have men's drink.
It's up by you, Grand Rapids or Park Rapids.
Oh, is it?
I have Michael nearby, don't I?
Can you guys get us some beer?
I gotta turn on. Is it full in here? You hear the talk. Yeah.
If free is coming through too garbled up for you guys that are in the comment section, post it. I'll shut this box down.
I get surrounded by you angels like that. I gotta turn the air conditioner on. You guys like really heat up the room. Woo. That's you. That was the plan.
Is that Courtney again in there that said, "Are you having issues tonight?" Who is she talking to? Me or probably because I am moving a little bit with my hand.
Smokers are only smoking the drink.
Can you say hello to Greg?
Who are you talking to with that? I heard you're using Morse code.
Who's this?
Is that through Greg's Posse device?
There she is. She just came through.
That's what it did me.
And for anybody that, hi, for anybody that's just coming in right now, hi. All right. Anyone that's going in with Greg Hawkins or Greg Koss and everybody coming in through here, if we can't hear you in real time, I've got a security camera up next to where their speaker is. I've got an EVP recorder hooked to this mic. I've got another security camera over there. I will hear you when I play it back.
Part-time.
I will hear you.
You.
Can you guys say hello to George?
Can I get
Carol?
someone here with me right now? Can you go say hello to Greg Fox?
Somebody get a drink out
Go
there
say hi
on
to
the
him.
jug.
Hi.
Are Are you the bartender?
Can you go say hello to Greg Bakken, please?
What is this?
What do you need help with? I heard you say something about helping me. Hey, sir, can you please keep talking?
Do you like your whiskey on the rocks?
I need to know. Yes, you. It's the same voice, so I know you're the same spirit. Can you please keep talking to me and give me some clue on what you need help with? If you have to repeat yourself, please do so. Make sure I can hear you. I know I heard you.
Do you like your whiskey room temp?
Being at church.
There'll be answers.
So you do like them that way? Room temp?
Is there anything else you wanted to tell me? I'm asking the person the gentleman that said something about helping.
Are there any drinkers looking for a cigarette? Yep.
Yeah, the same spirit. Hi. I love you.
Okay, are you there? Do you have your name again?
Hi.
What's your favorite beer?
Hi. I will hear you.
Boy, I thought I heard Schlitz. Talk to Reggie.
I love you.
Reggie, she wants to talk to you too. Are you guys going to Madison after the show? Hang around in Reggie's living room?
What are you doing? Did you ask what am I doing or who? How are you doing? How are you doing? Pretty good? Really good? Hi. Thank you. Thank you to everybody that has come forward.
I think we're gonna pull it, huh? I'm gonna shut down in 5. Thank you. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good night. Now you talk. Love you. Bye.
I love you all so much. Thank you so much for coming forward. Anyone that came forward, I will hear you. Even if I didn't hear you in real time, I will hear you. I love you. I'm going to go ahead and shut this down, okay? Okay. I love you so much. I love you.
Facebook user says whatever is coming in has my cat looking for it. Someone is causing a headache at the back of my head. That's Carol Garcia. That was interesting. There were a couple responses. I sure hope you can differentiate. And that was the big thing that I was talking about earlier on doing a couple doubles. Because if you'd figure out how to split the responses.
I knew that mine was saying some stuff because like I could feel the vibration of the speaker in my hand. You know what I mean? But then there is a number of full sentences, but it was tough because we were all going at the same time. It was tough personally for me to hear exactly what was being said, but that was kind of to be expected too, I think, in some ways. Like when we asked who wants a drink and someone said I do, and then next response was somebody said we all do. Which I like that.
That's the way to do it,
right?
I mean, you don't want to miss out.
If I mix all three of the recordings that I have now, I got the podcast, I've got the security camera right next to I got a 55-inch television, and that's where the sound from you guys are coming through, and the camera's right next to it. So the security camera will have you guys. My EVP recorder will have me separately. Well, you guys will still be in the background of the room, but the security camera will be pretty loud and clear on what you guys are doing.
Well, and something to keep in mind too, that it's probably not on this recording, but you can maybe you can through StreamYard you can download our individual audio clips, like our audio streams, so that we're separate. If you wanted to hear them separate, you could do that
on StreamYard.
Yep, absolutely.
How?
So once you go in, when you go into the videos, when this is done, you go into videos and you could download the video. It should offer you a choice to just download the audio or download each separate stream of the audio.
Wow.
Oh, I did not know that. Now
that's the answer. That's the answer.
Yeah.
There is a new toy I got to play with now.
Yeah, because if you're paying for StreamYard, you're going to be able to do that. If I'm not mistaken, I know I can on my version of StreamYard. In fact, now if we wanted to through certain StreamYard, you can even do the same for video. Like, say that we only want Greg Koss's video to download, it would download as a full screen 1920 by 10, and regardless of if it was a crappy if it was a crappy internet connection, it comes out like perfectly clean, because I've run into that. I've done that on some other stuff. It's pretty incredible, actually.
Wow.
I'm gonna have to test that on a
Like-
couple of our different shows.
Play with it, and if you're having trouble with like finding that, just let me know, and I can see if I can help walk you through that.
Because I'll tell you what, when I've been making these videos,
Mm-hmm.
I've been screen recording it right off of YouTube and using the podcast, and then using my EVP recording here and mixing the two.
Sure.
But I couldn't hear everything on Greg's end, and if I were to be able to download each individual,
Yep.
I could put them simultaneously in my movie editor and adjust the volumes accordingly.
Exactly.
So
Man.
we could do
I'm
two shows. One show we would do simply all the recording, and then another show we would do if we caught any of the responses.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Do it. Evidence reveal. Yep.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Metaphysical Crossing. Here we come.
That's right.
Greg Bakken's radio show. Here we come. Reggie, perfectly normal paranormal communication. Here we come.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And you know what you could also do too is like for Metaphysical Crossings, if you did that, you know, if you could ask the person who had maybe even not their own spirit box, maybe someone else's spirit box, you know, the ones who are running it, kind of mix it up and have them go through the recording and see what they can come up with, you know, see what they hear, and maybe not their own recording, not their own spirit box, if that makes sense. Okay. So that it's a little fresh.
So you'd go ahead and flip flop them,
like I would go through yours or something, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be perfect.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Because they're not long recordings. They're like 20 minutes a piece or 25 minutes a piece. So that's probably about 50 minutes to an hour of time to go through it. And that's not too bad. You know, you're not doing it. I mean, you're doing it every week, but you know.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you the hundreds and probably thousands of recordings I've got that I still haven't went through yet.
Me too. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and I'd be surprised, I'm sure, on a lot of them. I'll be like, oh no, I should have talked to them back then.
Right? Yeah.
Call them in now.
Do you remember when I was talking about the video that we did at Farrar School when we caught the white noise and we caught the ticking above it?
Yep.
That's been like 2 years ago already. And you think I downloaded it on my computer yet?
I know. I mean, we tell our students, this is how you do it. This is the proper way of doing it. But the reality is, Shar does it. I'm sure Shar does it just fine. I'm the one that's just like,
we ought to get Shar to do it. Tell Shar to call me.
Well, you should reach out to Shar. She does a lot of classes Wednesday nights, but you should reach out to her and see if she's what she wants to do. I don't know what her take on doing it in her house or anything though.
Really?
Yeah. But I mean, that's a conversation for you and her. I don't want to speak on her behalf though.
That's fine. I understand. But I was going to say that would be a good partner for you.
Well, if she did, I mean, I would take the notes for her. Cause I mean, I would like to see what she would come up with and stuff. Because she has a very, she's very gifted. Let's put it that way.
Yes, she is. She's a very, very wonderful person too.
She is. Absolutely.
I almost reached out to her when you're in the midst of your illness. And it was like, maybe not. Maybe I don't need to open up a can of worms. Well,
she probably was the one that kept me alive, to be perfectly honest. She got not a prayer group, but she got a group of people who were doing some healing on me, lots and lots of healing. She was doing lots of healing on me. She was checking in on me every single day. I've had people who had stopped being my friend. I got fired from my job because I had COVID. But she was there the entire time, and I literally had people like, I haven't heard from you in a while. Why weren't you reaching out to me when you were sick? And like, well, because I was sick. You don't understand how sick I was. No one really knows how sick I was. I literally could feel stuff starting to shut down on me, and that's just the reality of it. And when you're like that, you're not really texting people like, hey, what's up? I mean, there was a dark energy over me. I called it a dark pallor. Just this, like, everything around me looked dark. I mean, I could be in the room that I've been in my house for nearly 20 years, and it was not the same. There was something not right in there. There was something really, really wrong in my house at that time and affecting me. It was waiting for me to have something like COVID to take down my
defenses.
my defenses, and it went right in, and it was not great. It was not great. And I actually had a medium who's ridiculously connected, and she reached out. Her and Shar were talking, and she explained to Shar what it was, which was what we thought it was, and she had no idea about any backstory or anything like that. So, it's not me just being like, oh my gosh, it felt like I was going to die. Oh, I was so sick. No, it was very serious. It was very, very serious.
Wow. I knew there was something really up when your responses were 2 words long.
I
knew, and I'm not saying anything.
Oh, I know.
It was like, man alive. We just got to keep on praying.
It was scary. I mean, there's stuff I watch. Like, I had the TV on all the time, right? And because what else am I going to do? And I'm sitting there, and just like I'm fading away. And there was commercials I kept seeing over and over again. And it sounds stupid, but if those commercials come on TV, I have like almost like a panic attack when I see them, because it just reminds me. It takes me back to all of that. It takes me back to every what happened. It was just not good, obviously.
Well, at least you kept your beard.
It's the only thing that looks good on me. I can't, shirts don't look good on me anymore either.
I cut mine all off because I look like an old guy from an old fisherman in the sea.
The only reason why I always have mine is because I'm too lazy to shave.
Well, you grow yours overnight.
Yeah.
This guy's like, it's just.
Yep. I can go completely clean in the morning and have a thick shadow by 5 p.m.
I envision like a Play-Doh sort of thing, where you put the Play-Doh in and you squeeze it and it comes out. I think that's you. It takes a long time, and this beard took me like 49 years to grow, and it's without it. I mean, I'm not saying with it I look amazing, but without it, it's like, what are you? What is that? What is this looking at me? Is that Greg? Just no, I can't. And once I got better, I had lost like 25 pounds because of COVID. And I think I've gained back like 40. I need to do something. And I've been so busy also that I haven't been able to, I haven't been able to like eat properly. So like I've been doing a lot of freelance graphic work and stuff. And I just and tonight, like when we're done here, I was like, I'll figure out, okay, now it's time to eat dinner. That's just not good. So what can you do? It'll get better. It'll get better at some point.
Wow, I faded out into my alien form.
Yeah.
Wow. I figured out how to become just a head. Watch. It's the way I move my arms.
That's too much.
Look. That's so cool. I couldn't possibly tell you how much of a pleasure it has been to have you on, Greg Bakken.
Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely amazing. And thank you, Greg. I keep, when I say Greg, just Greg, I feel weird. I have to say Greg K or Greg B or something.
Oh boy.
Thank you. Thank you, Greg, for having Greg. Come on.
You could have done the same thing.
We've been having this show for 6 months, and finally Greg showed up. Get it?
Oh, that's where he's going to take it. You see where he went with it?
Yeah, no,
Right down the toilet.
it's
Right on purpose too. Didn't even.
It was
He
funny.
was a sick man,
Oh, jeez.
right?
But we're looking at about 10 after 8 right now, and I know Chris is getting fired up. Chris and Kristen are going to be getting fired up here pretty soon for their show. And we're on their StreamYard, so we have to move out of the way. But we can go into the background, backstage for a few minutes, and
sure.
And that either one of you Gregs have anything you want to say before the end of the show?
Just thank you very much for having me on. It's been a lot of fun tonight. It's been a lot of fun, and a lot of fun to learn more about, like, and listening to your recordings, Reggie. That was a lot of fun, and not even fun. It was really cool. It was really cool, and I really appreciated the opportunity to hear those and to be like, wow, those are just crystal clear. As a fellow lover of this type of communication, I was very impressed and loved it.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
There's a lot more where those came from.
Now I'll show you a couple more backstage.
Okay, everybody. It's been wonderful having you all here to watch us, and some great comments, and we love all you guys, and we will see you next week for another episode of, what's the name of the show again? Perfectly Normal Paranormal Communication.
Metaphysical Crossing.
And then they got Dark Horse Paranormal coming on here in about 15 minutes.
With another great show.
Right. And if you want to do a shout out on your other shows, Greg, go ahead real quick before we get off here. Greg.
I'm going to have tomorrow night. I'm going to have on the Shadow Hour. I'm going to have a lady by the name of Kara Phillip, who did a 5-year residency at the old. It was the old Joliet prison.
Oh.
So she is a wonderful lady, and I'm going to pick her brain on a lot of things, because the first time I was there was like when they first opened it up about 6 years ago now. So I wish I had gone back, but very interesting building, very interesting spirits, and well worth it. So thank you very much, everybody, again, for being here tonight. It's a pleasure having you all here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't ever like to end. That's why I'm always so hesitant. But I guess there's only one way to end, and that's just to go ahead and hit the outro. Get it
going. Pull the pin. Good night, everybody.
We love you all with all of our hearts. Love you.
We'll see you next week.
Oh, yeah.
Brand new show.